Hello. Um, I don't know. Bizarre fetishists of the future. I am kcStranger. These
He's
are
saying if you're
my
still here, there's something wrong with
these
you.
are my three unwilling players, at least as regards my opening word choice. And this is the Crystal Tomb. As always, the Crystal Tomb is brought to you by Tractor Blend, by XSplit Broadcaster. Um, I don't know, by the last of Kyrian's Waffle Bowl.
Brewster's ice cream.
Oh, that's cute.
Radiclus's family.
Yeah, shout outs. All right, so been a few weeks, but last time we started out taking a trip to the castle in Citadel, where the party picked up their coats. Shane, dear God,
Huh.
I need to sleep.
Been a week or two. It's been a couple of weeks. Layla and
Shane!
Kane were off. Well, Kelly
Or
was.
Sean, it's heavy rain. All right, so yeah, so Kane got a particularly nice coat. Oh dear God, I just created a meme for Radiclus for like the next year.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, so Kane got a particularly nice coat, which he's particularly conflicted about. So just as a quick reminder, this is a Kane that wow, this is going to be one of those nights. I'm just going to take it a little slower now. It gives +1 on saving throws. A roll of natural 20 on a saving throw against a spell will cause the spell to rebound on the caster. It does require attunement, and it is pink and orange striped with brown piping and wooden toggles. So that's exciting. I believe it was like leopard print or something like that.
Tiger stripes.
Tiger stripes. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, so that's exciting. So after the party came to grips with that, the creation spirits asked, basically just like, hey, we're like demigod spirits who don't get out very much. Will you show us what you do for fun? So some time was spent on that. Eventually, though, they did have to leave, and actually, as sort of as that time was winding down, the creation spirits sort of started to become a bit translucent. They were visibly in some amount of pain. And Cenarian explained as they walked away that while the creation spirits were not bound like the gods to simply not do things that were against their nature, there were limits on sort of their intended role, which they had transgressed with some of the recent actions they took to help the party, specifically to free Liriana from the Mind Flayers and get the group sort of quickly out of the caves, and that they were suffering the consequences of that, so to speak, that their sort of materializing themselves was something that was fairly soon going to pass. The group made their way back to Miro's house, and Kirill sort of led them through another transit via plants back to the mountainside near Tavrith's cave. They went in and found the gold dragon on death's door, about to die a very rare death by old age for an ancient gold dragon. Kane and Colleen approached the dragon, laid their hands on him. He becomes something of a friend, and Colleen finally decided that she didn't want this to happen. It took a few tries. It took quite a bit out of Colleen, who, will remind you, 3 levels of exhaustion at the moment. So speed halves, basically disadvantage on all d20 rolls. But she did manage to restore 100 years of life to Tavrith, after affirming to him that they did remain committed to the tasks that had been laid upon them. The gold dragon arose and essentially said that he would help them on the next step of their journey. And we pick up as you're sort of leaving, getting ready to leave Tovrith's vault and head out to the cave behind his palace. I sort of rushed through this part at the end. Oh, and also mentioned the magically sleeping Nistia Cantaniel has been stored away in one of these guest chambers. I sort of rushed this part a little bit last time, but is there anything that anyone was looking to do sort of before we went to that cavern, or while you were on the way there?
I just figure I'll be mostly passed out, exhausted. So
I seem to remember that you were sort of bracing yourself against Fallon.
yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I couldn't figure out which was mute and not mute.
No worries.
Was I still? Have I stopped carrying Nistia, or am I still carrying
Yeah,
her?
I'm gonna say that you've. There's a little bit of like, you stuck her here at this point. I'll say.
Yeah, I just remember because I thought there was something about me carrying both of you at some point, or was it?
Yeah, that was when I like keep forgetting about certain practicalities, like, you know, all the bodies we're toting around. So.
Yeah, I'll. Well, I can carry Colleen then if I set Nistia down in a room.
Okay.
Just stick with a bag of holding.
Piggyback.
There are debates about how much oxygen you can get out of a bag of holding. I mean, if you care to test those.
Keep puffing in. You just exhale into it. That's all.
So anyway,
Problem
It's not
solved.
oxygen.
So wait,
You don't use.
so is Colleen like piggybacking on Fallon? Or?
Yeah.
All right.
That's my boat, unless.
Yeah, that's
Brave.
All right. Somebody please make.
That seems appropriate.
All right.
We fair that requires fans.
Details. All right. Kane,
Man, that picture of Brave is just fucking hypnotizing.
Before we move on,
I wanted to. It seems less like genuine since he's not dying anymore, but where to go? I had a thing I was gonna.
it's okay. You can change it,
stuff back.
or you can do nothing. You can just follow along.
I'm gonna give him. I'm gonna be like, while we're still in the room in his treasure hoard.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna take out the ruby, the not cursed one, the magic one,
right?
The one we've thoroughly identified and know what it does, and there's no possible way that this can backfire or cause bad things to happen.
Okay.
Right, KC?
Put a demon portal into a dragon's boardroom.
Anyway.
No big deal.
Now it's kind of like show this to Tavrith and toss it into his hoard. I wanted to add something to your hoard. So.
He sort of just looks at you for a moment, and then swings his head back to look at where it's resting. And he turns back to you and says, "Well received. Thank you, Kane."
Yeah. Now imagine if that had done that, been like, right, he's dying, be like, the final thing I do is add to your hoard. Where'd it go? I'll take it. That's it. I'm just gonna find where it went to remove it from my inventory. There it is.
Fallon would like to interject. Fallon says,
"You know, Kane, I too am starting a hole. So if there's any more you plan to donate to hordes. I'm
I
starting
think
a little.
I think I need to see some evidence of a horde first.
I tap my pack, or slap my pack.
Can fit so many items in this.
This you can fit so many items. Sorry, the
I
meme
know.
was good. That
That
was
was
good.
Thank you.
Took me a second, but I got there. Now I need to make a meme for D&D. It just slaps bag of holding. You can fit so much treasure in this. Or bodies, you know, if you like Critical Role, you can put some bodies in a bag of holding. But that's it for me.
All right.
I got it off my inventory.
All right. So, all right. So, first the creation spirits, and then, and sort of Tovrith following behind your entire group. You're led out of the vault through this hall. You actually pass through the kitchen and out to the stable behind the palace. There are, again, these sort of rock elemental creatures known as the Galabdur, who are there, but they remain fairly passive
In the kitchen?
as you walk past. No, in this stable area. Out
Oh, as we go to the kitchen, can I ask, return to Tovrith and be like, so, do you just cook a bunch of food yourself?
He looks at you and says, in a place like this, one has time for a lot of hobbies.
Okay. Wait, if a dragon turns into a dwarf and then has a full meal and turns into a dragon, is he no longer full and he's just super hungry?
He smirks at you.
He could totally circumnavigate having to eat enough food to feed a dragon by just being a dwarf whenever you need to be, and just eating that to sustain yourself in tough times, right?
He stops, looks at you for a moment, and then says, I'll tell you what, this might be fun, so I'll give you a hint. A dragon is much like a great... he thinks for a moment. Bears a passing resemblance to a great lizard, yes?
Yes.
What do you know of the difference between the diets of lizards and furry things?
Lizards eat bugs, and the furry things eat the lizards.
He smirks and says, I'll let you think about that one. Oh, okay.
Kane gets it.
All right, you know what?
You don't eat often.
I'll go ahead and let you
Is that what you're going for?
make that check. If I was parsing, if I was splitting hairs, it would be a nature check. But
I was just seeing if Kane would get it.
whatever, I'll let it stand. Okay, you think about it for a moment, and you realize that well, two things. Number one, as a percentage of their body weight, reptiles tend not to need as much food as mammals.
They eat less.
And thing number two, dragons have some magical bullshit going on, so that's probably a thing.
So as he asks this, Kane's gonna whisper under his breath, "Magical bullshit."
He does indeed smirk and continue to just simply keep pace behind you.
Kind of wink and just like.
All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, you pass through the stable. Once again, there's sort of the illusory wall at the back, and you take that down about a half mile into a cave. Oh, and actually, as you're walking down, Kane, you get a mental message.
Oh no.
So this is indeed via your sending stone.
Ah!
The message says, Tirsa says we're leaving on Grun. I'm not sure what's happening, but I can tell she's concerned. Hope to see you on the outside.
I will respond with.
No, you already gave a message this day.
I thought you could respond to message. Oh, this is her response to my message.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's getting back to you. So tomorrow.
Oh,
Tomorrow you can message her again.
this is the worst data plan ever. You can send one text a day.
Basically, that's about what it is. Oh, that's funny.
When cell phones first came out, you weren't allowed to send text messages because it cost too much.
Yeah, I
Was
mean,
it
when I
really
was
to
growing
count-
up, it was like calling grandma and grandpa was a big deal because long distance, man.
You counted the minutes. It's like you get this many minutes in a month.
There was that old 1-800-COLLECT commercial, you know, and where they say you have to give a name for who's calling, and the guy said, "Atta baby, it's a boy," and then they did not accept the call or the
Oh, I
charges,
remember that.
and got the message that they had a baby and it's a boy.
I remember that. Wow, that's a
I've seen
blast
that
from the
used in
past.
shows and stuff. Or like, or is there something they use that where they use the like person calling as a message?
The other trick is write the address you want to send the letter to and the return address, and then put it in a public mailbox.
Jerry Seinfeld was a 1-800-COLLECT spokesperson.
Wait, no, Casey, you just blew my mind. And they'll take it.
It's
What?
a federal crime.
Yeah, but you're not putting your name on that.
Addressee is 9/10 law. Yeah.
I like how you get the way you said it's a federal crime.
All right.
Well,
So,
Okay, dragons.
So
Let's
back
go.
to where we were. So again, you reach this chamber that you were in before. So this is a circular chamber made out of stone. At the center is a triangular obelisk of polished white stone. On the side that faces you, you can see a small oval depression, which you now know to be actually made for one of the creation stones. Around the central obelisk is a pentagon etched deeply into the smooth gray floor. There's a line that connects each point of the pentagon to the center, and at each point, a stone torch is burning with a different color. So there's, they do match the colors of the chromatic dragons, so red, green, blue, white, and black. As you approach, and actually specifically, what is it, Colleen, I think, who has the ring now? Is it Colleen or Fallon? No, it's Colleen.
which ring?
The ritual ring?
Yeah,
thing?
the dragon ritual ring. That's you, right?
It's not. I don't think it's me.
Yeah, it must be Colleen.
It must be me then.
So as you carry Colleen close, the black and the green flames burn a bit more brightly. So the walls of the chamber are of rough obsidian and shine in the light filling the chamber. Attached to each of the walls, made of the same stone as the wall itself, is a shelf, rack, or hook of some kind. You realize now that you have a few of the objects, there is a place to hang the... well, actually, let me get my list so I can actually remember the names. Yeah, there's a place to hang the Cloak of Delusion. There's a... Whoops. There's a slot for the Scepter of Command. There's sort of a setting for the Amulet of Foresight. And also for the Crown of Allure. And there are 3 others that are meant for the items that you do not yet have.
Good get on that, guys. Oh god, we still have like 3 of those to get in Dragon Spirits, and we've already kickstarted the end of the world.
What's this wee business?
There's so much to do and so little time.
Fallon looks at Tom. You don't want to ask him about that? Maybe some.
Oh, was that in character?
No, it wasn't.
Okay,
But
all right, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
And
I thought it was.
yeah, no worries. And at the on the ceiling of the room
refrain from out of character speaking.
is a series of runes, perhaps the forgotten script of some language that forms 3 concentric circles. I think you might have actually translated it last time you were here, so I'll just go ahead and tell you it's written in Celestial. And actually, Quizmiligus can read all writing, so I don't know why he wouldn't tell you. So it says, in the beginning, Maier gave birth to his children. By the 3 creation stones, the world was made. By the 7 relics of power, the world was limited. And by the 5 dragon spirits, the world was safeguarded. These were scattered, but the one who assembles them is granted authority to build, destroy, and protect. All right, so you enter this room. The 3 creation spirits sort of stop in front of you, and they just stand with their backs to you for a moment. Finally, Lacidel actually turns back around and sort of taps his siblings on the shoulder, who also turn around. They look back at you, and Lacidel says, and here, I think, is where we'll need to bid you farewell for a time.
For a time?
He shrugs and says, well, I don't know, but I hope you might come back. He looks up at his siblings and then looks back to you and he says, we have a plan. One detail. I think, to the best of our knowledge, we've found all of the items that are in Einangrun itself, yes?
I believe so.
Right. So we think it's time that, well, that the 5 of you see more of the world, and that we remain here and, well, hold back what was released.
That's probably for the best, I suppose.
Right. So he sort of shakes his head for a moment and then says, details. This is, as you might well suspect, a place of power. Assembling all of the items here will enable you to bring the power of the gods themselves together. In the short term, it'll enable us, and again, he sort of gestures to his siblings on either side, to continue to exercise a bit more of our power and hopefully do more to slow down the creatures that were released from that tower.
So this isn't like a, once we get everything together, we're good. It could still not work.
He looks over at Cenarion. Cenarion sort of smiles peacefully and says, it should work. There's a very good chance of it working.
I trust them more than I trust anybody else with this kind of thing.
Good point.
I mean, certainly hope that you don't take too much time to bring everything back.
Well, it's all
How much
basically in
time
one
is
place,
too
right?
much time?
He thinks for a moment and says, Not very good at estimating, Kirill. Kirill thinks for a moment
Your
and
gods.
shrugs. She says, we've never actually fought these things before.
What did you do last time then?
Cleaned up the mess?
Oh.
She shrugs and says, I bet we could probably hold him back for at least a few years. Probably.
Fallon says, did you all happen to see when Kane threw that ruby back there?
They
That
look
was
back at each
just
other.
a trinket magic ruby that I got from a shopkeeper. There's no way that a third mineral will bite me in the ass like the
Here's
first
what
two
you
did.
need to do. Talk Tyvrith into letting you melt it into ash.
Cenarian holds up his hand. Fallon, if you please. I got a good look at it. That is not an ass-biting ruby.
Like, there's no way I'm that unlucky that a third randomly discovered mineral will bite me in the ass.
Kane
Although-
touched it, that's all I know.
Kane, do you know what it does? I just know that it definitely won't actually bite your ass.
It makes something magic, but my stuff's already pretty magic.
Oh, maybe you should
Oh,
put it
wait.
on your ass.
Was that a joke?
That's Einengruen's ass. That is it.
That
I spend a lot of time alone, okay?
I don't know what that means, but it makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That statement just makes me uncomfortable on a very deep level.
Kirill sort of slaps him on the head and she says, it means he has a skewed sense of humor.
Oh, okay. I probably should make the dagger magical though, but I didn't think about that. Well, Ruby's gone now, so whoops. Back again. Okay, so we have a few years. I'm gonna go ahead and assume we don't actually have a few years here.
Kirill shrugs and says, if you want to be safe.
Yeah, safety is yeah. Since you kind of have the one shot at this.
She thinks for a moment. Well, you've definitely only got one shot.
Fallon puts his hand on Kane's shoulder and looks at him grimly, like, I'm so sorry.
Guys, this was, we just got together to explore some tunnels, man. This is getting way out of hand.
So, anyways, Kirill sort of looks around. Anything before we, and then there is another, this time very noticeable, no check involved, almost a staticky zap, as you sort of watch the three of them sort of visibly distort, almost tear a little bit, become even a little bit more translucent, and all three of them sort of gasp in pain, pull themselves together a little bit. And after sort of a moment of silence, Kirill continues, anything we should do before we get going? Or you get going anyway?
Bestow us with gifts.
And then, actually, at this moment, Colleen, you feel
Not a bad idea.
sort of a rustling from within your cloak.
Nether.
Oh.
Yeah. Actually, where Fabrizio has been polymorphed and stashing himself.
Nestled. Yeah.
Nestled, yes. And
God, the picture of I just looked at the picture of Braveshine again. Oh God.
so he appears to have polymorphed himself into a small, into like a medium-sized like lizard, but he scurries out onto your shoulder and then polymorphs back into his quaddle form. And you all hear once again inside your minds, because that's how these guys talk. Actually, if you don't mind, I would like to interject here. He says, "Has anyone noticed the wall at the back of the room?" And Kirill sort of smirks and says, "We weren't allowed to talk about that, actually." And Fabrizio says, "I think there is actually something you might want to do before we leave. Um, if you will all, follow me." And Kirill says, "We'll stay here." And Fabrizio flies towards the back of the room. There is what you notice that there's between two of the walls, most of them. So I said there were sort of 7 walls that went around the exits, but there's the tunnel that you came in, and there's another sort of just like flat space that mirrors it on the opposite side of the room. And you watch as Fabrizio flies into the wall and disappears.
Interesting.
A moment later, his head comes back out of the wall. "Right this way," and then he disappears back into it.
Guys, this is all very sketchy.
Colleen thinks she's seeing things because she's so exhausted.
Oh, right. Remember to gamble with you later.
I say I take clean piggyback through the wall.
All right.
Kane just like kind of like just tiptoes slowly, like.
So, as you pass through the wall, you enter into a relatively small room. It's maybe the size of like a large office. And it's fairly spare as well. So, to the left, as you enter the room, is a desk that has sort of a rack of just full of like loosely organized scrolls on top of it. No visible drawers or anywhere where you would stash anything. On the opposite side, and also on the desk is a platinum plate that appears to have something engraved on it. Otherwise, the room just has a few chairs and a small empty table. And that is actually it.
Cool room.
Hmm?
It's a cool room.
Investigate the plate with the writing on it.
Right, so it is written in a language that I think you do not know.
Can I look at it?
What's the
Do I know it?
language?
Oh, Quizmeligus can read it, right?
Yes, he can. So Quizmeligus can go ahead and read it to y'all. If you want to actually identify the language, I guess history. Let me just validate that you don't actually know this language.
Ha!
I know Common, Normish, Orc, Draconic, and Infernal.
I know
Karma.
common, element, undercommon, and abyssal.
All right, so yeah,
I
none of you
know
know the language, but Clean,
common
you,
and
you
primordial.
recognize it from your studies. Kane, you don't know it actually, but Clean, you recognize this as Celestial.
I don't. I rolled a 17.
Yeah, I know. But Celestial doesn't get used very often. If it was like Dwarven or even like Orc, you would totally recognize it. But Quizmiligus reads it aloud. And actually you notice at it it almost looks like some kind of contract because there's some text and then there's a bottom section that has several sort of ornate symbols of some sort engraved. And it reads as follows: "We, the gods of Anangrun, bind our power to this place. Our reality has been brought to annihilation's brink, but for the urgings of our sister Innis, the elements and the forms themselves would have been destroyed. We will not and cannot be united in purpose. But to such as brings the bearers of our power to this place, we hereby resolve to answer. May this place be a bastion against the emptiness. Signed, Avit, Haval, Karulo, Dravosa, Zephi, Alkadir, Miros, Sheena, Innis.
Gotta talk to that Sheena lady.
It's been a while since we've seen some satanic tentacle monsters.
People's body parts sewn together on the table.
Just saying. Like the cloaked tentacle thing that attacked Innis, we still don't really know what was up with that.
He's the nothing.
Oh,
Or one
and
of the nothings.
you know what? I forgot one thing. So
It
opposite
might be.
the desk, it's not actually empty. I forgot the thing that was there. There is clearly recognizable a teleportation ring, rune engraved around the outside, made out of platinum, maybe.
Colleen, read the thing. Read it.
Read the thing.
Teleport us.
Oh,
Is that how we get outside of the lands?
Teleport us.
I don't know. Is that how that works?
Does a little dialogue box pop up and say, "Are you ready yet? Let's
So-
go."
Does
or
the cursor
not yet?"
change icons when I hover over the teleportation circle?
So generally, the way that teleportation rings work is that they actually function as destinations. So you can go from somewhere else to here. It doesn't necessarily automatically connect you to other locations.
Oh, how do you? Okay,
So
that's weird.
the way that so this is
The
actually,
door is not the same on both sides.
there's a spell called teleportation ring, and what it lets you do is write out a sigil sequence that you know on the ground, and then make a connection to a fixed ring at a different location.
I feel like you've been withholding information.
No, you guys
I'm
use
kidding,
this
I'm
exact
kidding.
spell to
That's
get
how
to
it works,
Westeros.
That was a joke. That was a joke. That was not serious.
The DM says, "How dare you question
I'm tired, okay?
No blind rage tonight, please.
Casey would like to
46 acid
rage."
damage.
Ugh.
All right. So there's that. So Fabrizio sort of goes over on the table near the scrolls. And actually, let me think here. You know what? He polymorphs into a monkey and starts picking through the scrolls. You watch as he sort of picks one up, looks at it, sets it down, picks another one up, looks at it, sets it down.
Can I read the ones you put down?
Can you read what?
Can I read the ones he keeps putting down?
Yeah, sure. You pick it up. Give me an Arcana check.
Don't let my memes be dreams. Arcana. That's
I believe in you.
acrobatics. Arcana.
Oh, shame.
No. That's the opposite.
So you can't read it, but it's definitely like some sort of like mystical gobbledygook. You think it might be a recipe of some kind?
Clean. That's the letter.
I'll take a look at
Actually,
it.
you know, Colleen, given your state, give me a dexterity save. Actually, no, that's not quite right. Just give me a dexterity check, or sleight of hand if you have that, I suppose. Okay,
Catch
16. All right, yeah. You sort of wearily raise up your hand and catch it. You open it up and look at it. You can give me an Arcana check as well.
Ooh.
Well, shit.
25.
Um,
Disadvantage.
Oh yeah, it is disadvantaged, but that's still a 25. You look at it, it's a scroll of teleportation ring. You glance at the ones that Fabrizio is discarding. That rack is full of scrolls of teleportation ring.
Start
Well-
shoving them in your pants.
I don't think we'll have trouble getting back necessarily.
Dr. Scroll.
Finally, Fabrizio the monkey pulls one up that he looks at, or actually he holds his hands like he's looking at something. But it is not clear that he's actually holding anything at all. And actually I have to check something with respect to this. Just a second.
So real quick, I think I'm still at 2 levels of exhaustion. Is it?
3.
3.
We got rid of one of them though.
You got rid of
with
one, but
Fabrizio.
you were at 4.
I was at 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
You is super fucked.
I don't remember what my limitations are other than I got my health back.
Yeah, disadvantage on all d20 rolls basically, and you're at half speed.
Okay.
All
That's
right.
not so bad.
So Fabrizio walks over to the edge of the table. It's a small monkey. And he looks up at you where you're sort of still, unless you say otherwise, sort of hanging over Fallon's back. And he looks around at you all. And let me think. Yeah, remaining as in appearance as a monkey. He will say to you all telepathically, I don't know if you remember what I said at the tower about the feeling that I had that there was a place for me, a place that was my purpose. I think I finally found it. And he looks back at you all and says, I know hopefully this isn't too sudden, but I think I want to stay here with them and take care of this place.
I think that's
I
a
mean-
very noble wish, and we'll need to get back here, so be good to know that it's in good hands.
Right. And he sort of perks up a little bit. He says, but for taking care of me and
For Rebecca's.
Yep. And for bringing me here, I well, and he holds up his hand like this. Colleen,
Fist bump?
I want to give you this. Yeah, you reach out and sort of fist bump him, and he says, no, 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 no. He looks back and forth. You can't see it, can you?
I'm sorry, what am I supposed to be seeing exactly? I feel like I'm seeing a lot of things right now.
He thinks for a moment. Does anyone know Dispel Magic?
I do, but I don't know it right now.
Oh. Well,
It's not prepared right now.
he thinks for a moment and says, hold out your hand, Colleen. And he sort of reaches out towards you, and you feel something. It's what? It's some kind of thick paper, basically a small scroll, it feels like, made out of some sort of very, thick, rather nice feeling parchment. And Fabrizio says, next time you can use the spell magic, use it on that.
I will keep that in mind. I will try not to lose it.
So you currently have an invisible scroll. I won't worry about the weight on this.
Okay.
Well, it's invisible. It has no weight.
Yeah, that's how that works.
Kane logic.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And at this, Fabrizio shapeshifts back into his quaddle form and says, "Anyways, he sort of like scrunches his body in a motion that you interpret as a shrug. And he says, I noticed this place was back here and I thought it might be worth checking out. He sort of looks around the room. I actually don't think it holds any more secrets than what we've already seen. Although he looks back at the wreck. Might want to take a few more of those though, just in case. And
I grabbed 2.
maybe take down that sigil sequence.
I
Um,
grabbed 2.
I can try to scribble out the sequence.
Okay. You sort of climb off of Fallon's back for a moment and take some time. Give me Arcana again.
So I'm picturing like sliding off of his back and just like an inchworm crawling over to the circle and just like drooling on the ground the whole time, like anime. Like, it's like, yeah. Exactly.
That's great. Yeah, you're very tired, but you've done this kind of thing before, and you sort of do it like automatically, kind of like kind of like a toll booth attendant who's on hours 7 out of 8 of their shift, that kind of thing. It's just automatic.
Automatic rifles.
Right. All right. So you all finally do make your way back out of the room and into the center chamber. You all sort of shuffle back over to where the others are, and then Tavrith looks at you and says, "So, do you have a direction in mind?"
Well, we gotta get off the island somehow.
If I recall,
Go get the rest of it. Or we can go to the Feywild.
we were aware that we needed to go north to the volcanic mountains. Was that? Am I remembering that correctly?
Would you like me to take a moment and summarize
Yes.
what you know about where things are and which way you could possibly go?
I was playing it
please.
out, but that's fine.
That's fine. It just might be more efficient. So yeah. So what you were referring to is Mount Karam, which is up here.
No max axis for maxes.
Yeah. So that is a place that holds gateways to lots of other locations, like different planes of existence. You could go that way. You don't have to. Other options. I will mention, Kane, you actually learned a while back an entrance to the elemental plane of air. I don't know what that gets you, but while we're mentioning planar gateways, that would be right about here. Now, in terms of where the things that you're looking for are, here is the larger world map. Fallon, due to your bargain, you know where the remaining vestiges of Alcadir are. As such, you know that 2 of them are roughly in this location.
That's what I was talking about.
Oh, okay. You also know that one of them is, and I'm pinging way down at the bottom right, right about here. And you're looking for 3 more dragon spirits. One you know is in Haleo, who is presumably in the Feywild, and 2 of them you know were taken by the Ashal, which puts them like probably somewhere in this general area. So just throwing that out there. I guess the only other thing is, Fallon, also, just while we're mentioning your bargain, the location that you were asked to go to for that is, right there. Okay, is there anything that I'm missing? I don't think so. So that's what you know, and we can go back to in character. I'll go ahead and just leave this map up for the moment.
Should we take the messages with us or leave them here?
Shut up, Kane.
Calvin. Wait, what? What?
Oh, you're asking
Okay.
Simple question.
You're asking
Be quiet.
Tavrith? Tavrith thinks for a moment. Actually, I need to make a roll for Tavrith to see how much he can actually remember about the history of these things. Okay. He thinks for a moment and says, even in my long life, I've rarely encountered these, though I have heard stories. I think that they are perilous to use with any frequency, perilous to carry for fear of being captured and losing them, but powerful. So the question is, what's worse, the risk of losing them by holding on to them, or the risk of not having one in a moment of great need? He thinks for a moment, and he says, I would leave them here, but I won't begrudge you your decision.
Look at Fallon. What do you think?
I think you should have kept quiet.
Why? What?
These are my family heirlooms. You leave me alone.
All right. So I take it to keep them with us then. Yeah, I think we
I
should
start
divide them
backing
among
out
the
of
three
them.
of us.
What?
That way, in case one of us needs to use that power to save everyone else, we have it.
You'll get nothing from me, Kane.
Give me the amulet.
I thought someone gave him the amulet.
No,
The
no
ring
one has
came
given
to
him
me.
the amulet.
It's mine.
It's more of a. Do you remember how you jump started the end of it?
Give me the amulet.
Well, do you remember that? Oh, give me a magical item. Yeah. No.
Yes.
No.
But with this power, I can help. We can get the rest of them.
I kill the monsters and you help them. No.
That it's one time, and it wasn't even like I did it on purpose. I didn't even think. I thought I had time to be like, all right, we won't do it. You just did. The person popped up in my brain. How do I stop that? How do you stop that? How do you prevent brain popping, huh? You know what it's like to have a
I
voice
don't
in your
know
head?
why you're arguing.
It wasn't on purpose. It was intentional.
The point is, Colleen has one of my family heirlooms I need. And I'm not about to give another one away.
I'm gonna hold on to this one
Come
for
on,
as long
you
as
both,
I can.
you both
Damn
have
it,
one.
Colleen.
If things get dicey, you'll have the. You can fall back on those to use them. I got nothing.
You have your wits.
Can't tell if you're making fun of Kane or not. That's it. You okay? I can't
Yes,
see those cameras anymore. By
I
the
was
way.
making fun of Kane. I can't see yours.
Yeah, I
God
can't
dang
see
it.
yours.
Oh, I can see
I see
everybody.
KC's. Can you guys hit reconnect?
I did.
Dang
I'll
it! I'll try it again.
Save anyone.
Reconnect.
And you're back in
window.
character. Come on, man.
I saw you for half a second. Now I see
Yep.
your. Oh, there you
Oh,
are.
It's gonna,
I see. I still don't see Brave.
I still don't see Kane.
Well, GG.
I still see Brave Styles.
Right.
I have this picture.
You're missing out, Kane.
At least I have this picture of Brave, so I know kind of what's happening. But I just think
What's funny is he did look like he had this like complete Zen pose, and I was like, wait a minute, are those his legs?
like, wait a second.
Okay.
But I think
So
I think I
out
should
of
receive
out
one.
of character, no. Out of character. Fallon wants to collect them all, okay?
You can have them back. I just think that
I gotta
each of
give them
us.
up when we come back. You got stuff. You
I
got
don't
plenty of
have a
things.
vestige of a god.
Well, I never had any creation stone.
Neither did I.
I didn't go crying. I'm just saying. I do really feel like they're my family heirlooms. My character. Honestly, and I know it's a terrible idea. I feel like we should but I don't know. Like this place was already attacked. Like I don't know. It's like, do you really want to leave all of the really fancy stuff here?
I mean, I don't think we should leave it. I just wanted to put the question.
Oh,
I just wanted to put the question
did
out
everybody
there.
see that smile and shrug?
We should have that. I feel we should at least maybe discuss
I
if
think
anyone
I've just
wanted to
figured
leave
out
it.
that this is a doomed campaign. That it will have a finite end, and we will have no say in that.
Casey's like, y'all can discuss all you want, but it's over. It's
Either
over.
you leave them here and they get stolen by the bad guys and you all die, or they steal them off your.
Steal them off our dead body. Well, not Kane's. You won't have one.
I don't have to say
Fine.
anything. I just have to make a funny face and let you guys speculate.
You won't even get defiled, Kane. You're good.
Use the Cape of Illusions to stop time for everybody.
All right. Fallon. What if?
I've already left the room.
No. Hold on. What if
There's
I wear the cloak?
literally no bargain that I could think of.
What if I wear the cloak?
You have a cloak. It looks nice.
No. The one that I got from at the city.
You're talking about
The gaudy
Valid?
one.
I've come to
Tiger
bargain.
stripes.
Goddamn. Dormammu. I've come to bargain. It would have taken half the time with Kane. Yeah. If you wear your coat, your fancy, it's not a cloak, it's a coat.
Yes. What if I wear
I
it?
think of it as a Letterman's jacket, by the way. Like it
Cute.
totally looks like
What if I
bulky
wear my jacket, coat, whatever it
Letterman's
is?
jacket. We need to move the plot along.
But what if I wear the jacket? Then can I use the amulet? I'm just
I'm
borrowing
just letting
it.
you guys
I'm
hash
renting
this
it.
out. Actually, I'm gonna let you guys go this time.
You
Not
always
like-
have the Crown of Allure as a bargain to get it back if you really want it.
Glenn, help.
I think you guys need to settle this.
I don't know why I need to settle it.
Well,
If I wear the coat, can I wear the amulet too?
I feel like this is a personal attack.
I've got what I want.
God damn. What do you even have? I don't even remember.
The Cape of Illusions.
Delusion. Okay, yeah, that's
Delusion.
wonderful for you.
Because I gave you everything else with the stipulation that I keep that one.
Damn it. Do you have? Yeah, you do. God damn it.
Do I have what?
No, I was trying to think about how high, if I could deceive him. to
Wield the
thinking I
scepter of
gave-
command on him. Tell him to.
I will wear the coat if I can borrow the amulet for the duration of our adventure.
I feel like if I use the scepter of command for something that petty, Alistar's ghost will come find me.
I will think on this.
Okay. We're taking them with us.
I mean, there's always the chance that we could leave one behind or something.
Nah.
It's not
Nah.
the worst idea.
I mean,
Which one,
a
though?
god was nearly killed here. Let's
yeah.
not leave the messages here.
So with this, Tavrith does put in.
You read my
Says,
mind.
if you're taking any of them with you, you may as well take them all. If you lose one, odds are good enough that you'll lose more anyway. Best to
Can't tell if that's
best to put all your eggs in one basket in this case, I say.
Is that a stab at us?
It's a dragon
Somebody
logic.
notice. Hashtag just dragon logic.
Risk it all.
What I'm saying
Might
is
as
that if
well.
you lose one, you're a little bit screwed anyway. So
we might as well get epically screwed.
pretty much.
I like it. Go big or go home. I like it, Tom. I like your style. So, how do we get off the island again?
He says, there are ways. I'm sure I can suggest something if you mention a destination. Please? He pulls out this rather old-looking map of the world, which looks pretty much like what I'm currently showing on screen.
So, okay, here's a question, guys. Do we want to go straight for their base and take the two they have? Catch them off guard? Or do you want to go get the one they haven't gotten yet and potentially alert them to our presence and put them on guard and making the base infiltration harder? I say go for the base first. Well, they don't expect us to be going for it.
What was the one over here, Casey? Gauntlet of... No, they already have the gauntlet.
Oh, I forgot. It does tell you what's where. I forgot if it told you just the locations or also the identities. So the Axe of Sundering is down here. And
what does that do?
The Chalice of Prosperity.
I'll let you know when I use it.
As well as the Gauntlet of Suffusion are up here.
What does suffusion mean, Thomas?
That's how they were trying to cast magic over great distances.
Thomas, what does suffusion mean?
Oh, that's serious. Okay.
He looks at you for a long moment, and then said, "The word means to spread through something."
For those of you watching at home, Fallon shared a picture of the forest fire bear guy pointing at a family. And the title says, Druid Murder Hope was be like, watch me eat this family.
This whole family, yeah, this family.
I love Thomas Jones. So, I think we should go for the base infiltration. Stop it. The base infiltration. I think we should go for the base infiltration. Catch them off guard.
With this top, it says, you know where... Who are you talking about, first of all?
The guys that want the pieces of gods, and we captured them before, but then the turtles undid that, so now we didn't never actually catch them.
Okay, I'm not following everything, but I think I got enough. You know where their base is?
We know where two vestiges are, so we figure that's gotta be where their base is. Since
he sort of tilts his head and thoughtfully and says, it's an assumption, but not a bad one.
I never make bad assumptions. The chuckle wasn't in character. I just couldn't keep straight face saying that.
I need to go to a place called Teljaskar, and from there it's a short jaunt and a skip across the pond to get to the place where the Axe of Sundering is supposed
I
to
don't
be.
see a scale on this map. How big is this map?
Scales on the bottom left, and also I did size the map, so if you draw arrows, they'll be appropriate.
I'm sorry, I lied to you, Talbert. There is a scale on this map. I can't read. So you need to go from here to where again? And then you gotta go from there to here. Why do you need to go to Teljakar?
There's something I need you to do for me.
Well, if you got bad amulet, I'd be more inclined to do these things for you. If I had an amulet around my neck, I'd be more inclined to go with you to Teljakar. Huh?
I'm ignoring you.
I love the camera's back now. Y'all can see the faces I'm making. All right. Well, I don't know, guys. My voice is cracked twice in that sentence, and it makes me feel bad. But
Braveshine, are you in attendance?
Colleen, stop sleeping. Wake up.
I'm not sleeping, just playing with wires, cables.
I know, but Colleen's sleeping because she has 3 points of exhaustion.
Well, yeah. Slap her on the face a little.
Well, that'll definitely wake her up. But not in the way you want to, I don't think. Brave?
Sorry, when I was fidgeting, I disconnected my headset. I have not heard what you've been talking about.
You've missed a lot.
Just the last 30 seconds.
I'm trying to convince Fallon to give me the amulet, but he's ignoring me.
I'm just saying many things of consequence have passed during the time that you've missed.
We're trying to decide which way to go. I've suggested we go to Telia's car.
But you won't tell us why.
You suggested which one?
Telia's car.
Telia's car. I'm pinging it on the map currently.
It's at the south, but he won't tell us why he wants to go to Telia's car.
I think we should go to the north one. My personal opinion.
Go for the base first when they don't expect us. Hit them hard. Give me an amulet, and then we can get the other 2 vestiges. And then we go get the last one we don't have yet.
I like some parts of that plan.
Which parts exactly? All of it? Yes. I thought it was a very good plan. Every step.
Yeah.
So, it's 2 against 1. Let's go. Go to the north one. We can go to all
if my soul goes to eternal damnation, neither of you will get any of these items.
I'm pretty sure if your soul goes into eternal damnation, you won't get all your items.
No, I'll make the demon take them.
Demon? What demon?
Well, his name is Imra.
Okay.
And I'm in a really bad spot here, and I need to go to Telia's car.
We could still go to Telia's car after we get the vestiges, so that we can catch those guys by surprise.
How about we split up the trip?
Let's split the party. Yes. Let's split up the 4-person party. What could go wrong?
Kane goes
I don't
north.
really know if there's an element of surprise to be had at this point. I feel like
I mean, they don't know we can hop from the island, right?
this is already past a critical time, and everyone's cards are on the table. I believe.
But they don't know we can hop from the island. If they don't expect us to be able to leave the island and we just show up at the doorstep like fucking choo choo motherfucker, Thomas the Tank Engine, fuck the shit up before they didn't know what happened. Take the vestiges, go get the third vestige, go to Telgiscar, and then, give me an amulet and have some drinks and save the universe. So we go to the Winchester. I feel like even the creation zones and towers are looking at me with the same way Casey's looking at me. Just like,
On one hand, it's been a while since we let Kane decide something. On the other hand, he just unleashed a great evil in the world.
You agree with me. What are you talking about? Me deciding.
There's no balance to that scale.
It was not intentional.
It's not that I agree with
I saw like I hopped into the brain channel. They hopped into my brain channel, and then when I left, things exploded. I didn't agree to anything yet.
Also, you don't know that they're evil. What makes you think they're evil?
I'm not going to go there, Casey. I tried that once. They're not going for it.
I'll pick that place because it sounded the most interesting to me, but not necessarily that your tactic was sound.
Why is it so? Why would they expect us?
I mean, who's to say that they do or don't? Honestly, we have to do it all. I don't really care what we saw.
I just figure.
If you're asking my opinion, I thought that one sounded neat.
I'll just say that we've got supposedly per the stone people, the little tiny rock people, a couple of years. I can't remember how many months I have left.
Wait, what do you mean? What kind of deal did you make, Fallon? Also, when did you make this deal? You've been with us for like a whole month straight.
Kane, and I'll roll deception, sorry. You remember when you pretty much died?
Yeah. I remember the gnome salts making it worse.
I brought you back. It was me.
Insight check. I don't know if Kane actually remembers.
I'm just gonna let you guys play this one out. However you want to do.
Okay. Also,
if you want to roll and respect that, go ahead and roll. I'm not gonna adjudicate this.
Please also.
Wait. So hold on, but didn't Tirsa basically tell me that they brought me back? It was the whole part of the plan.
She did indicate that. Yes.
Okay. I'm just gonna look at Fallon. Right. So, what did you make the deal for, Fallon?
I don't exactly remember. I think it was so that we could know.
It'd be more convincing if you didn't have your hands behind your back and you weren't moving your foot and looking up and to the left the whole time you said that.
I think it had to do with knowing where the vestiges were.
Okay.
So we wouldn't know where to go.
So you made this deal to figure out the locations in exchange for your soul.
Unless I complete a task. You make it sound so terrible.
In light of recent events, I don't have much of a leg to stand on, but I'm still slightly judging.
You weren't there. You don't know what it was like. I
I said,
Actually,
go
everyone was
Scar.
right there when it happened.
Well, they weren't in my head though.
No, they weren't.
You same to all of it.
That was out. That was not a character.
So let's go to Scar. Oh yeah, I know. Let's go to Scar. Let's save Fowlin's soul. Then I get the amulet.
Least you can do. No, it's recompense for your terrible behavior.
Also, as I've been talking about what actually went down, have the creation stones been reacting at all?
They occasionally wince, but otherwise they're mostly standing there looking bemused.
It's like, okay, so like, again, I never actually agreed to anything. I just was pulled into my head. A conversation was had, and then I left my head, and then shit
Honestly, I
started
don't even
breaking.
remember all the stakes as to why that happened.
Well, it's because you guys weren't like in the convo.
I know. I mean, I'm
Oh.
talking about what I did.
You want me
Why?
to remind you real quick?
Sure.
Oh
please
yes,
do.
remind Fallon of his soul deal.
You were
Soul deal.
you were in that like Adder's Fang hideout on the glacier, and
Yeah.
you were pretty sure that one of the vestiges was there somewhere. They had like this captive, but you couldn't figure it out.
Oh, that's right.
So you
yeah.
tried to talk to Imra, and Imra said basically, "All right, I'll tell you what. I'll let you know where all the vestiges are, but you got to do a thing for me."
Yeah.
And so in the moment, you learned that the guy was literally wearing the cape.
That's right. Yeah, I learned it, and then Brave meted it off of his back. I remember that.
Colleen
Metagaming it off his
believed.
back.
She believed.
Yeah, believed.
You believed you heard the conversation that you weren't supposed to hear. Yeah.
Meta magic.
Love
Meta magic. Okay.
All right, you heard him. Let's go.
Wait. Hold on though, Fallon. So if we
If you
go
help
here,
me pour 3 times on a journey, I will. I will flip
you
a
will
coin.
what?
Flip a coin, and if you guessed right, you can have the amulet.
Seems like a lot of effort on my part here. I'll wear the coat. We'll go to your place first. I'll do everything you tell me to do during this journey. And I get the amulet for we actually get into some fighting. The big bad guys.
I don't know why this is a thing.
Because we have like one melee person, and I really like having sneak attack on all my attacks.
I'm a
I don't
melee. Don't you already have that? You have like 15 stealth things. No one ever sees you.
But like, I only get sneak attack if like A, they don't see me coming, or B, if I have an ally in melee. Which is fine if it's like one guy and we have Gamorreek, but it's like a bunch of people or they're flying. Then the having advantage on the attacks gives me sneak attack, which the Amulet of Foresight does.
It's like Gamorreek and Fallon like carry us through the fights, and then you're there for comedy relief.
Hey, I do damage.
Colleen misses all.
I do. Colleen misses her ice knife.
Ice knife. Never.
Hey, that control water though.
Hey man, I feel like I've legit one shot.
Also,
boss.
the ball that I put around the nuclear explosion demon thing.
Huh?
I do
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. You also hamster balled the snake bomb.
Yeah.
I get. My thing is like
Utility.
the thing is out of character. Even if you have it, you're not supposed to use it unless it's like a dire situation. I used the Scepter of Command to force, or Crown of Allure, I can't remember which, to
Crown of
force
Allure.
that one guy to revivify Colleen, who I also caused her
Like I
death, I
said,
think.
for
But
like a big bad evil guy fight, and Kane may not be thinking about the implications of the bad influence. It's shocker, but Kane's not considering that part of this. He's just like shiny power.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
see, the hesitation is not going away.
No, that's perfectly reasonable. But just so Kane will not stop asking for it. He will bide his time.
Do we just need to have the comical moment where you try to use it right away in a ridiculous way, and I just crown of allure it back to myself immediately?
And then both of you are unable to take them off.
And then the world ends in the background with us going like, mine, mine, mine.
I don't think I haven't had it work that way. I don't know.
I don't know. We'll figure. I'm
I
sure at
remember,
some
I
point
remember
Thor
Max
uses
has
it.
had issues with that.
Okay,
and
so I'll clarify this just because I've sometimes forgotten to apply this effect when I was supposed to. They do carry an effect where when you use them, it becomes harder to give them up.
Yeah, it's like each time they're used, it becomes harder to make the check to take it off.
Wait, so how does that work with something like the amulet then? If it's a constant effect?
Well, if you try to take it off after you put it on,
Okay.
is when the effect applies.
So if I just put it on once and never take it off, I can take it off easy.
Potentially.
See, guys?
Theoretically,
See, it'll be
question
fine.
mark?
Ignore the
Maybe,
DM putting a
to
question
the
mark
best of
into
your
that.
knowledge.
Ignore him, all the words he just said. It'll be fine. Ignore all those words. He's just a DM. What does he know? It's just his item. Alright, back to the plan. We're going to intelligence. Let's go. I'm putting on the coat, by the way.
Are you guys settled on Tellius car then?
Yes, I'm
Yeah,
putting
that's
the
fine.
coat on.
Alright, so at this point, Tavrith says, okay, Tellius car. He says,
There's a J in there, Tavrith.
It's pronounced like a Y.
Why?
Because that's how it's pronounced. It's the language.
That wasn't supposed to be a pun, but like, or like the Y joke, but I'm sorry, guys.
I actually don't know what you're referring to.
Because he said it's pronounced like a Y, and I said Y.
Oh,
It's just,
dear God.
it was just really just.
All right, I got there.
Just continue.
All right. He says, when I last left the larger world to come to Anandgrun, an emperor of the Javit was building a great fortress there. But that was many years ago. He looks at you all and says, do you know what it is you seek there?
Fallon.
Oh gosh, it was something about was it like 7 or 13 kind of little stone things I'm supposed to break and just kind of walk away, I think.
He narrows his eyes a bit and he looks at you closely.
See, I'm not the only like sketchy one in the group.
And then he looks back at the creation stones, and Lacidel just looks at him and says, for better or worse. Tavrith turns back towards you all and says, let me ask a different question. Do you know what manner of peril you might be walking into?
Alvin.
Maybe the fiend variety?
He thinks for a moment. And he looks closely at you all. And Kane, he lingers for an uncomfortably long time on you. And then he says, Kane, would you like to
Yeah.
meet your father?
Uh, yeah. Yes. What?
Good. I just making a guess based on what I gathered from Anya while she was here. Seems that you'd asked her about a passage to the elemental plane of air. And I'll freely admit that was a guess, but it seems it struck home. Anyways, he thinks for a moment, there have been rather few Jinn who entered the country of Anangrun, and one was more prolific than most, you might
You
say.
know, uh, did him?
He says, I know of one who, well, is statistically most likely to have given birth to an air genasi in Einangrun. And
Okay.
I'm thinking if you don't know what you're walking into, then it might be worth unlocking. Well, it might be worth borrowing from his abilities.
Okay.
Very well. He turns back to the creation stones and says, I think our course is set then, though I have some misgivings. You all will be okay to remain here. And Kirill gives one of her rare sort of genuine smiles and says, we'll have to be. Very well. He turns back and looks at you, Colleen. I imagine you should do the honor of putting the stones in their setting.
I'd be happy to.
Inchworm over to the wall. Sorry.
You slowly walk up to the obelisk, and the setting that you have, there's, you can adjust it to remove the stones, and you go slowly through that process, starting first with Cenarian, then with Kirill, and finally Lacidel. As you take Lacidel's stone out of the setting that you had, Lacidel says, something to think of us by, and he sort of holds out his hand for just a moment, and you see sort of transparent at first, but then filling in and becoming solid, a facsimile of the creation stones in the setting that you just took them out of. And he says, not actually worth much, but he shrugs. I thought I should.
I think it's priceless.
Thanks, Colleen. Hey, you take care, all right?
I hope you can keep the world together until we can get back.
Right. Well, he thinks for a moment. Well, I'll do my best.
I have every faith in you.
And as you put each stone into the obelisk, the spirit to which it's attached smiles, shimmers, and disappears. Although, as you go to put Lacidel's stone in, the last thing that you hear actually is a sharp intake of breath and a stifled cry of pain. But the last thing that you see is a wink and a thumbs up. as you put the stone in its place.
I'm gonna miss those crazy kids.
A long moment passes, and Tavrith finally says, "Whenever you're ready."
I think Colleen should rest for a little while.
At that, Tavrith says, "We might be able to delay for one evening. I think more than that might be perilous. This place is protected, but the world outside, not so much. And, well, we'll need to pass through it to get where we're going."
What do you think, Colleen? Do you want to rest, or do you think you can tough it out?
Well, I mean, I'm thoroughly exhausted, but I did this to myself, and I made the commitment to do this, so I will go forward however you guys would like to.
Well, let's go then.
Very well.
I'll watch your back.
Besides, he says as you walk through the tunnel,
Fallon says, "I'll let you ride on my back." Carrying
Yep.
it.
I can't carry it for you. Okay.
But I can't carry you. Sorry.
Is that from something that I'm not?
Lord of the Rings.
Oh, yeah.
He's like,
Sorry.
Mr. Frodo, I can't carry it for you, but I can't carry you. And then, like, 5 minutes later, Frodo's like, ha, psych, my ring.
All right.
Bites his finger off or whatever.
So, yeah. So he leads you out. As let me think about this real quick. As he walks past the vault, you see him sort of sigh a little bit, and he looks back at all. Oh, and actually, wait a minute. Let me think real quick. What do we? Yeah. Okay. He looks back, and finally he walks up to the vault door, closes it, and you see him sort of mutter something with his hand over the latch of the door. And there's sort of a resounding click. You walk out through the entry foyer, out the main gate, and as you do that, he transmutes back into his dragon form, shoves the main gate shut just by brute force, and once again sort of reaches out one of his claws over it, and this time you hear sort of, again from nowhere in particular, sort of a resounding clank isn't the right word, almost like a thud, and for a moment you imagine that you feel more than see the way it gets shut behind you. He leads you around the lake, under the waterfall, through the tunnel, and to the outside. All right. So with this then, he looks at all of you and says, "This is regarded as something of an indignity among my kind, but I believe in this case it has been earned. Will you climb on my back?"
Yes.
The music from the Neverending Story when he's riding on the back of Falcor.
1,000 times yes.
Here we are. Sorry.
Um,
I need to find that song super quick.
and actually, let me see here. So with this,
Where are the unconscious bitches at, though?
I will go ahead and insert that he fished one thing out of the vault. So with this, he sort of, again, mutters a single word, and there appears on his back, like, something resembling, like...
Airline seats.
I was going to say...
A saddle.
Something resembling a saddle, actually. Just sort of a low-ridged platform that doesn't look especially comfortable, but does look like if you're not being dumb, it'll at least keep you from easily falling off and plummeting down to the ground. Okay, so assuming you all climb on his back, he takes off into the air and starts flying northeast, back towards the mountains of the Dwarven territory. As you climb higher into the air, you enter the clouds, and eventually you can't see the ground below you. The time passes. You have lunch. You get pretty bored. You have dinner. Let me see. With respect to the sort of jostling that you'll be undergoing, it's going to be hard to do detail work, but you will be, so like copying spells is going to be kind of a problem. But while you're flying, is there anything that anybody's wanting to do in particular?
I yell woohoo.
Cool.
How long is this process? Like this travel time?
It's going to be several hours. Call it 6. I mean, I don't know. How far are you going? It's going to be, you're going to go to about there.
Wait, guys.
Oh, no, it'll be shorter than that. More like 4.
Guys, I was gonna wear the jacket, but not. I don't know if I want to wear the jacket to go see my pops for the first time.
It's a reasonable consideration.
I mean, fuck, dude. This fucking jacket, man. I want to wear it, but I don't.
At one point, as you're crossing through the gnome territory over sort of the rocky hills of the northwestern part, the clouds break. You can see the sun, not particularly close to setting at this point, but definitely getting lower, getting on towards evening. Off in the distance, the land looks strangely warped, almost as if it was swirling down a drain.
Nah. Nah.
It's hard to make out clearly.
Literally riding on Falcor.
So, if this is a 4-hour flight and I'm an elf, can I long rest while we're doing this and lose the stage of exhaustion?
So here's the thing. The idea of a long rest is that you only get one per day.
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
So you can short rest as many times as you want. But
Alright.
I'm gonna restrain.
But too short.
That's fair.
Long.
Because otherwise you could just sleep for a day and be like, we're done.
Yeah. Although I will... Let me see here. I'll tell you what, this is what I'll allow. I'll allow that you do some resting on the way over, so you can remove 1 level of exhaustion now, but you'll still be at 2 after the next time you long rest. Like, you can only remove 1 level of exhaustion per day.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're now at 2, but when you actually long rest in the evening, you'll still be at 2.
I'm gonna have to look up. I'm just gonna pull that up.
So
Alright.
that's where this song is from. Is he riding a giant snail?
There's a snail racer, yeah.
What? A snail racer?
Have you not seen
That's
the
an
movie?
oxymoron. This movie? No, I haven't.
You make me sad.
Alright.
I'm sorry,
Um,
it's 11 years older than me.
No excuse.
By the way, are you playing that over external speakers?
Maybe.
Okay, yeah. It's like going above and below your sensitivity settings, so it's like kind of jarring. Anyway.
He fell in the mud. Alright, stop stopping there.
Alright.
Let's go ahead. Let's continue.
Okay. So
that music is playing when we fly.
So finally, you do make it to the mountainous shore. Actually, Kane, give me intelligence.
It's my time to shine, boys. And clean. Open. Character sheet open. There we go. Not a good start. Ah, yes!
Okay. Yeah. This place looks strangely familiar, and you have trouble putting your finger on it at
It was
first.
in my dreams.
And then you recognize the tall mountain that you're on, overlooking the ocean, sloping down to a forest on the other side. You've been in this place a few times before. Now, when you were there, there was a house near the top of the mountain, and you don't see that now. But
Can I tell Tarvith to fly towards the top of the mountain? Tarvith, go that way. And I point where the house is supposed to be.
okay, let me think here. Okay, so as you say that, he sort of slowly starts gliding and sort of slows down in the air, but still moving forward, maintaining elevation, if you will. What?
I've been here before. In my head. That sounds worse out loud.
Right. You want me to go down for something?
I think the right there. And I'm just there. But I think there's something there. I think the portal might be there.
He
or
starts
something.
gliding in circles lower and lower as you're talking, sort of over the place that you're indicating. He says, I do know the way to the elemental plane of air, Kane. Are you looking for something else?
Well, never mind then. Guess I was wrong. I had an idea, but it was the wrong idea.
No worries. And
Onwards and forwards. And I do like the Titanic pose as you fly.
All right. He sort of swoops back up to the elevation he was at before and flies out over the water, straight into the clouds. You enter sort of a thin cloud. For a little bit, you see patches of water appear and disappear beneath you. And as you look out, you realize that you are doing exactly what all of the people of your country fear, which is to venture out beyond, beyond the shores and out into the open world, from which you can, at least generally speaking, never return back to Anangrun. But as you fly, finally you realize that you've entered a cloud and you've not exited it. The clouds grow thicker and thicker around you. Just acknowledging that and moving on.
Huh?
And then, yeah, never mind. Sorry, just the word thick. Anyways. And Finally, you feel gusts of wind begin to swirl around you, and you realize that Tavrith has been angling steadily up this entire time. And at last, and actually you travel this way for a few more hours. This is when you have dinner. You almost start to get bored of it, and that's when you emerge above the clouds and see in front of you Grand Palace.
Kane just
floating
kind of
above the
leans back
clouds.
in his seat. If there is a way to lean back in his seat. Just kind of like wide-eyed.
Tavrith slows down as he approaches the palace. There's a large veranda on one side of it that he slowly swoops towards. And you see arrayed around the top of the building archers, humanoid, but as you get closer, everybody give me perception.
Are they blue?
All right.
That's a 16, Casey.
Oh, all right. Yeah, so as you draw closer, you realize that humanoid, yes, human, no. They are, in fact, and Kane, with a little bit of a leap, you realize this. They're Air Genasi, one and all. Holding bows with some sort of glimmering steel on the arrowheads, all sort of arrayed about the building, watching you come in.
No, not like this.
Kane just essentially doing this. That's me.
Nobody says anything as the great golden dragon swoops and finally lands on sort of a large patio.
I'm super glad I didn't wear the coat.
It is quite beautiful, actually. Elegant, yes. Ornate, but not gaudy. With
Ostentatious.
with lots of silver and trees that seem to reach up towards the sky, flowers in various colors, and lots of lots of very attractive genasi sort of arrayed about. Two of them, both female, stand at one edge of the platform, sort of closest to the building as you land. And as you do land, and there's sort of a moment, Tavrith breathes out. You notice a very thin trail of white smoke escape his nostrils. I don't know, perhaps he's just been flying for a very long time. And at that point, one of the Genasi speaks. She says, "What brings you?" And actually, let me see here. What would she actually title him?
Kane's just kind of like standing really stiff, with like wide-eyed.
She says, "What?" What brings you, Lord, to the palace of Esselhir? And Tavrith says, I am the dragon Tavrith. I come bearing one of your kin and seeking word with the Jinn Esselhir. There's a moment of silence, and I need to look at the thing.
I awkwardly wave. Just everything I do on camera is what Kane's doing.
Brilliant. Actually, let me think about this. Give me performance, Kane.
Eh.
Okay. You manage to you're a little bit awkward for sure, just because of this is definitely a little bit overwhelming. At the same time, you manage to keep from going slack-jawed at suddenly being around lots of really attractive genasi.
Who I feel like are siblings?
Yeah, that maybe helps. The knowledge that they're at least you think at least a lot of them must be your half-brothers and half-sisters?
Yeah.
That might help now that I think about it. Alright, where is... I'm looking
I was
for...
hoping you were going to make a lot of them hot Genasi babes that really want him, but he can't partake because of Thule.
I'll wait until next time.
We don't know that they're all related to me.
No, certainly not. I mean, there's been insinuations that your father was prolific, but Philip Hallis prolific?
Let's say this is a lot. And we have a regular human lifespan, so that would be a lot.
Yeah.
But Philip Hallis.
That is absolutely true. Alright. Sorry, I'm having trouble finding my thing. But I'll just look.
That's what he said.
Lol. So I guess I will just use... no, that's terrible. I'm very sorry. Give me a moment.
That's no problem. I get to play out more of how Kane's brain has now exploded. And things just took a very sudden turn he was not anticipating, nor was he prepared for.
Yeah.
All he can think is, thank God I didn't put the code on yet.
Alright. We will go with this. Alright. So, and let's go with, alright. So, the one who first hailed Tavrith says, I am Aida, and this is my sister Saffron. Welcome, Lord Tavrith, to the palace of Esselhere. If you will, please wait here for just a moment. I will convey your words to to Master Esselhere. And she bows, and Tavrith sort of inclines his head, and she disappears inside.
I just kind of turned to Khalid and Fallon. They're all blue.
Fallon just says, do we have to stay long?
I don't know. I wasn't ready for this.
Fallon looks at Tavrith. Keep your wings ready.
We can fly too.
He chuckles
Doesn't
and says,
matter.
Actually, I'm thinking with respect to our surroundings, I should probably shift into my other form. He looks up at Saffron, who's remained there, and says,
I was whispering. I was whispering. If there was still a person there in front of us.
Oh, yeah, sure thing. And he looks up at Saffron and says, if you will, I will shift into my other form. She nods slightly, and then he looks back at you all and says, you may wish to get off.
Oh, we're still on his back? I thought we got off already.
Oh, you did?
I hop off.
All right.
I do a flip.
I didn't hear that.
I do a flip.
Give me acrobatics. I don't think you can possibly fail this, but... Give me acrobatics.
I can't roll less than 25.
Yeah, absolutely. You do a flip. You do a rather impressive looking flip. You give me insight.
I can't roll less than a 16.
You sneak a peek at Saffron. She barely reacts, but you detect a small raise of the eyebrow, as if to say, "Really?"
Yes.
um,
When in doubt, show off. That's Kate's way.
Tovrith shifts back into his dwarf form. You notice he's actually dressed differently. He's wearing sort of a loose red robe. But yeah, so a moment later, Ida reappears and says, "The Lord Essel here will receive you. You may enter right behind me." And she gestures
As you
towards the
walk,
door.
I'm gonna lean to Tarvith and whisper, Tarvith, how do I do? I wasn't ready for this, Tarvith. What are you gonna do? I don't was ready for this at all. Just call guys all of a sudden, don't you, Tarvith?
Balin says, "Tell him about how you released the terrible creature. How you tried to kill us all."
Tovrith sort of huffs and says, "Have you heard the phrase, better to close your mouth and be thought a fool than open it and remove all doubt?"
No, I haven't.
You've confused him now. Good job.
Look, I know Essel here. Just wait for him to do the talking.
But like, I also I
Who's the Essel here?
solid joke. You should tell him that one.
I'll think about it.
Tarvith, though, like I had some musings and ideas, and like I am very conflicted on just how I feel about this individual as a whole. It's a lot to process.
He's conflicted over his musings.
You walk through the large doors that lead into what appears to be some sort of reception hall.
Wait. Fallon says, "Well, hopefully it doesn't go the same for you.
Huh?
You know, you have to kill him."
Oh. I mean, this was an option I had considered and am still considering, but not at the moment, obviously, since, like, but later. I don't know. Tarvith, help.
He says, "I'll do the talking, at least at first. You'll have to
Okay.
talk eventually, but
No,
you'll get a sense of things."
I just won't talk. I'm good at that, at not talking. Definitely. Oh, I could just not talk like the best of us. I mean, who says Kate talks a lot? No one says that at all. I could just stop talking whenever I want.
I have a really good feeling about this. You walk
Was
through...
that sarcasm?
You walk through the large doors and into this reception hall. It looks like it could be a feasting hall, but right now there's just sort of a large, what I'm going to say, sort of a deep purple rug that runs down the center of it. Marble floors, lots of sort of there are like potted plants on either side, and lots of gold and silver trim. At the front are some steps that lead up to sort of a dais, which is empty at the moment. You don't see anyone else other than Ida and Saffron, who are leading you in. Lols. And yeah, they lead you right up to the dais, and they both walk up onto it actually, and sort of stand at either side. And for a long moment, nothing happens. Finally, Saffron sort of looks over at Ida. She just sort of shrugs. They both look back. Just a moment. And as she's finishing that sentence, there's a whirl of wind. You can feel it sort of pressing against you, even where you stand. You notice they both have to brace themselves slightly. And the air sort of starts to shimmer, becomes slightly opaque. And there swirls into existence in front of you a man. His skin a deeper blue than that of Cain. He has a thick black beard, dressed in sort of a red, loose-fitting coat, sort of like Arabic style. His eyes are golden and lively. There's a scimitar that hangs at his side, and you notice on his right wrist, Cain in particular, you would notice this, a silver bangle that matches the one that you wear. And he says, and as he appears, he stands for a moment, sort of puffing himself up a little bit, apparently, on the platform, and says, "Welcome to the Hall of Vessel here. That's me." He looks around at you all. Says, "So, who do I have the pleasure of welcoming?" Tavrith speaks up. "I am the Golden Dragon Tavrith, and these are my companions, Fowlin, Clean, Quizmiligus." And he looks at you, Cain, and says, "And you wish to go by Cain, yes?"
Cain.
And Cain. Right, so they said something about someone claiming to be my boy. It must be you. And he looks down at you, Cain. And Tavrith says,
Alan's laughing.
"We're coming from Einon Grun. There are rather few sires of Genasi in those parts." And you see Essel here sort of think for a moment. You raise a good point. Must be mine.
I raise up my wrist that has the bangle on it.
He looks at it for a moment, and then he looks down at the one that he's wearing and says, "Huh. Always wondered what I did with the other one." He looks down at you, and then he thinks, "Wait a minute. Your name isn't Cain. You're, and he snaps his fingers. You're, Cassius, no. You must be," he sort of thinks for a moment. "You must be Agnes's boy, right? No, Alice. No. I'll get this, I promise. It must be Mary's kid, right? You're Mary's. Giselle? Ella?
We're not here about that.
Jane?
Yes.
You're being awfully
Thomas?
quiet, boy. Help me out."
We're not here about that. You have other
Right.
business.
He looks up and he says, "Well, at any rate, you do not doubt that this one is your son." "Oh, yeah. No, it's gotta be. That bangle, that's a unique set right there. I remember the exact day that I had those forged. Again, it's really a nice design. I don't know what must have overtaken me to get rid of one of them. Oh, I've got this nagging memory in the back of my mind, you know? You know when you get a thought just sort of stuck in there?" "Right. Well, at any rate, we were hoping to ask you for the same assistance that you sometimes bestow on what? On the more illustrious of your offspring. He looks for a moment and says, "Oh. Well, what makes you think it should be this one?" And Tava says, "Well, you can take my word for it. Or you can perhaps talk to him." He says, and he looks over at you, Kane, and at this point, let me make a quick roll.
I am legitimately trying to find where I wrote down. I'm trying to find my notes.
Okay, for what?
I may have actually forgotten Kane's mom's name.
I keep thinking of the most terrible things to say.
Alright, I whispered you a few things.
Oh, there it is. Okay, I found it. Because new computer, I had to go back on my Google Drive and find my stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I remember my name. I just
Okay.
couldn't remember.
Yeah.
Oh wait, the League of Legends.
Oh, right. Vault.
Sorry. All right. What'd you say just a minute ago? Now I was looking.
Oh, well, I kind of lost my train of thought, but I'll just say, he looks at you and, he said, he basically said, "Well, we could talk."
Before that.
Tavros suggested he can give you powers like he does to his other illustrious offspring. He was like, "But why?" And Tavros was like, "Well, you could take my word for it, or you could talk to him."
Right, basically. And
Wait.
And that was about it.
Yeah. Okay.
Fallon keeps thinking about insulting your dad because he's being mean. Make a.
Yeah.
Tell him about how when Quizmangus farts, he's a wind god too. So.
Yeah.
Because it's the least you could do.
Well, it's not the least I could do.
No, actually, it's not the least you can do. You've already shown what the least you can do is.
He looks at you for a moment, says, and his shoulders sort of slump for a moment, and says, "Look, some of this isn't my strong suit, but," and he gestures vaguely towards outside the hall that you're in. And he sighs, and his expression softens a little bit. And he says, "Do you want to take a walk?"
Fine.
And you leave the room with him, and that's where we'll end for tonight.
Shank your dad.
I really want to. After that entrance. Oh boy, that entrance.
All right. Goodbye,
and
recording. Goodbye.
And the list of names.
If there's anyone on
the like.
No,